don't worry about bump stock. We're getting rid of it where it'll be out. I mean, you don't have to complicate the bill by adding another 2 paragraphs. We're getting rid of it. I'll do that myself because I'm able to. Fortunately, we're able to do that without going through Congress.
Trump did it. He ultimately, in 2018, banned bump stocks. But today, 6 years later, the Supreme Court said Trump was wrong. In a 6-3 ruling, the justices said the way that Trump banned bump stocks by having the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives change the definition of the word machine gun to now include bump stocks was unconstitutional. So now they're legal again. For the record, the 3 liberal justices issued a scathing dissent to this opinion, which I'm going to share with you in just a second. But first, you need to understand this ruling was less about Second Amendment rights and more about whether or not a federal agency, at the discretion of the president, has the authority to do something like this. See, if Congress had passed a law banning bump stocks, they could absolutely do that. But the question in front of the Supreme Court was, can the ATF ban them by simply changing a legal definition? See, machine guns were banned in the United States by the National Firearms Act of 1934. There was an update to the law in 1968 and another one in 1986. In that law, machine guns are defined as any weapon which shoots, is designed to shoot, or can be readily restored to shoot automatically more than one shot without manual reloading by a single function of the trigger. The definition also includes any part designed and intended for use in converting a weapon into a machine gun. The majority opinion written by Justice Clarence Thomas today went through a whole technical explanation of how bump stocks work, including diagrams, and then goes into this whole discussion about what constitutes pulling the trigger. Ultimately, Justice Thomas wrote, a bump stock does not convert a semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun any more than a shooter with a lightning-fast trigger finger does. Even with a bump stock, a semi-automatic rifle will fire only one shot for every function of the trigger. So a bump stock cannot qualify as a machine gun under the law's definition. The ATF therefore exceeded its statutory authority. In the dissent written by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, she basically says the conservative majority is splitting hairs here over the function of a trigger and making excuses to allow this particular firearm accessory to be legal, which she says will have deadly consequences. She wrote, when I see a bird that wats like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, I call that bird a duck. A bump stock equipped semi-automatic rifle fires automatically more than one shot without manual reloading by a single function of the trigger. Because I, like Congress, call that a machine gun, I respectfully dissent. So if you want to read this ruling for yourself, I will email it out to you tonight in my News Girl News Roundup email, so make sure you sign yourself up.